London Stadium, commonly known as the Olympic Stadium, is a stadium in Stratford, London, England, at Marshgate Lane in the Lower Lea Valley. It was constructed to serve as the home stadium for the 2012 Summer Olympics and Paralympics, hosting the track and field events and opening and closing ceremonies. It was subsequently renovated as a multi-purpose stadium, with its primary tenants being West Ham United Football Club and British Athletics. The stadium is 6.5 miles from central London, and 7 minutes from the London Street, Pancras rail station via Stratford International high-speed rail services. Land preparation for the stadium began in mid-2007, with the official construction start date on the 22nd of May 2008, although piling works for the foundation began 4 weeks before. The stadium held its first public event in March 2012, serving as the finish line for a celebrity running event organized by the National Lottery. Following the Paralympics, the stadium was used intermittently whilst under renovation, before reopening in July 2016 with a capacity of 60,000. The decision to make West Ham United the main tenants was controversial, with the initial tenancy process having to be rerun, as well as its regular tenants. The stadium will continue to be used for a series of special events. The stadium hosted several 2015 Rugby World Cup matches, one test match of a tri-series between England Rugby League and New Zealand Rugby League in November 2015, and will host both the 2017 IAAF World Championships in Athletics and the 2017 World Para-Athletics Championships, the first time both events have been held in the same location consecutively. Design and construction. Olympic design brief. During London's bid for the Games, promotional materials featured a main stadium with a roof designed to wrap itself around the venue like muscles supporting the body. However, at the time there had been no formal design brief agreed. While the bidding process was ongoing, West Ham had talks with the owner about contributing to the development of a multi-purpose stadium, should London win the bid. The government preferred to produce a brief for an athletics-only stadium which would be largely disassembled after the Games, with the Lower Lea remaining in place as a permanent athletics facility to replace the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, with the original Olympic design finalised and being built. The government had a change of heart and a bidding process for a multi-sport post-Olympic legacy was launched. On the 13th of October 2006, London Organising Committee of the Olympic and Paralympic Games confirmed that it had selected Ceremonies Alpine Populous to start exclusive negotiations with, to fulfill the eventual design and build contract of the new Olympic Stadium after no other organizations met the bidding criteria. The stadium design was launched on the 7th of November 2007. Structure details. The construction of the stadium commenced 3 months early in May 2008 after the bowl of the stadium had been dug out and the area cleared. The building of the stadium was completed in March 2011, reportedly on time and under budget, with the athletics track laid in October 2011. The stadium's track and field arena is excavated out of the soft clay found on the site, around which is permanent seating for 25,000, built using concrete rakers. The natural slope of the land is incorporated into the design, with warm-up and changing areas dug into a semi-basement position at the lower end. Spectators enter the stadium via a podium level, which is level with the top of the permanent seating bowl. A demountable lightweight steel and pre-cast concrete upper tier is built up from this bowl, to accommodate a further 55,000 spectators. The stadium is made up of different tiers. During the Games, the stadium was able to hold 80,000 spectators. The base tier, which allows for 25,000 30,000 seats, is a sunken elliptical bowl that is made up of low carbon dioxide concrete. This contains 40% less embodied carbon than conventional concrete. The foundation of the base level is 5,000 piles reaching up to 20 meters deep. For that, there is a mixture of driven cast in situ piles, continuous flight auger piles, and vibro-concrete columns. The second tier, which holds 55,000 seats, is 315 meters long, 256 meters wide, and 60 meters high. The stadium contains just under a quarter of the steel as the Olympic Stadium in Beijing for the 2008 Summer Olympics, approximately 10,700 tons. In addition to the minimal use of steel, which makes it 75% lighter, the stadium also uses high-yield large-diameter pipes which were surplus on completion of North Sea gas pipeline projects, recycled granite, and many of the building products were transported using trains and barges rather than by lorry. A RAP, funded by Dow Chemical Company in return for being able to advertise on the RAP until the 26th of June 2012, covered the exterior during the Olympics. The wrap was made from polyester and polyethylene, and printed using UV-curable inks. The wrap was made of pieces of material that covered 20 meters high and 900 meters in length. The final design for the wrap consisted of 2.5-metre wide fabric panels, twisted at 90-degree angles to allow entry to the stadium at the bottom of the structure, and held in place with tensioned cables to allow for fast on-site assembly. Compression truss and roof column connections were bolted. This enabled easy disassembling of the roof structure after the closing ceremonies. The cable-supported roof structure covers approximately two-thirds of the stadium seating, reaching 70 meters above the field of play. The stadium roof held 14 lighting towers, or paddles, that collectively contained a total of 532 individual 2 kilowatts floodlight lamps. The lights were first officially switched on in December 2010 by Prime Minister David Cameron and London Mayor Boris Johnson. During the Games, the towers were fitted with additional ceremony lighting, and 4 of the 14 towers held large temporary video screens. Stadium interior. The stadium was equipped with a 9-lane Mondo 400 meters athletics track. The turf in the stadium was grown in Scunthorpe and was a mix of perennial ryegrass, smooth stalk meadowgrass and fescue grass seeds. It took 360 rolls of grass to cover the infield and was laid in March 2011. The track was designed by Italian company Mondo, and was the latest version of the Mondo Track FDX. The stadium's 80,000 seats had a black and white fragment theme that matched the overall branding design used by LOCOG for London 2012. The lines, all centered on the finish line in the stadium. The seats were made in Luton and were fitted between May and December 2010. During the Games, the stadium's grandstands contained a lighting system developed by Tate Technologies that allowed them to function as a giant video screen. Individual paddles containing 9 LED pixels each were installed between each seat of the stadium, which were controlled via a central system to display video content wrapped around the stadium. The system was primarily intended for use during the ceremonies of the Olympics and Paralympics. Over 70 minutes of animated content were used during the Olympics opening ceremony. Response. The stadium design received a mixed response from the media, with reviews ranging from magnificent to a bowl of blancmange. The design was promoted as example of sustainable development, but some architecture critics have questioned both its aesthetic value and suitability as a national icon, especially when compared to Beijing. National Stadium. For example, Ellis Woodman, building designs architecture critic, said of the design, "The principle of it being dismountable is most welcome. It demonstrates an obvious interest in establishing an economy of means and as such is the antithesis of the 2008 Olympic Stadium in Beijing. But while that's an achievement, it's not an architectural achievement. In design terms, what we're looking at is pretty underwhelming." Quote. He went on to criticize the procurement and design processes, stating of the latter that it should have been subject to an architectural competition. This view was echoed by Tom Dykhoff, the Times' architecture critic, who described the design as tragically underwhelming and commented that the architecture of the 2008 and 2012 Olympics will, in years to come, be seen by historians as a cunning indicator of the decline of the West and the rise of the East. Despite the criticism, the Olympic Stadium was nominated for the 2012 Sterling Prize in Architecture, losing out to the Sainsbury Laboratory at the University of Cambridge. Amanda Bailew, writing in Building Design, challenged the designer's claims that the stadium is environmentally sustainable and good value for money. Instead, it is asserted that the reality will be the opposite. In particular, she claimed that the temporary roof could not be reused to cover the permanent 25,000 seating area, given the difference in size. It is unlikely that the removed seating would be wanted for any other event, e.g. the Glasgow Commonwealth Games, and the costs involved in dismantling the stadium and surrounding pods has not been factored into the estimated cost. The cost of £537 million compared to cost of 1908 Olympic Stadium £60,000. Stadium Island. The stadium site is on former industrial land between the River Lea, the City Mill River, and the Old Pudding Mill River, parts of the Bowback Rivers. Another branch of this system, St. Thomas Creek, 200 meters to the south, completes an island surrounded by water. 200 meters to the east is the Waterworks River, with the London Aquatics Centre on its eastern bank. This island site for the stadium lies at the southern end of the Olympic Park. To make room for the stadium, the already partially obstructed Pudding Mill River, a short channel of the Lea which ran from the west side of the stadium southeastwards across the stadium site, was filled in. Post-Olympic redevelopment. Dennis Hone, chief executive of the LLDC, revealed in November 2012 that the stadium would not meet its reopening deadline of 2014. Instead, the stadium would reopen in August 2015, with the stadium retaining a capacity of around 50,000 for athletics. Following the granting, in March 2013, of a 99-year tenancy to West Ham United, the E20 LLP, a joint organisation by the London Legacy Development Corporation and Newham Council, were specifically set up to oversee redevelopment of the stadium into a UEFA Category 4 venue seating 60,000 spectators. The reconfiguration saw work on a new roof, corporate areas, toilets, concessions and retractable seating. West Ham contributed £15 million and Newham Council £40 million for the work to be carried out, with the LLDC and the British government making up the rest. Approval was granted for the installation of retractable seating on all sides of the stadium and an 84 meters transparent roof. Balfour Beatty were initially contracted to construct the new roof for £41 million. In January 2014, they were awarded a £154 million tender, which includes the earlier contract for the roof to complete the stadium's transformation works. IMTECG and AMP8 were awarded a £25 million contract to carry out electrical and plumbing work. Paul Kelso, working for Sky News, discovered in September 2014 that the cost of the conversion of the stadium may rise by £15 million, due to additional work to strengthen the structure to allow it to support the new roof. It was revealed neither West Ham United nor the taxpayer would have to meet the additional cost, as Balfour Beatty would contribute, with the remainder funded from the existing LLDC transformation budget of the Olympic Park. In October 2014, the LLDC contributed a further £35.9 million towards the project, with the funding coming from reserves and income generated by other means. Work commenced on 13 August 2013 with the removal of 25,000 seats and the grass from the field of play. The athletics track was covered with a 75 cm layer of recycled concrete to protect it during the heavy lifting. In November 2013, work commenced to remove the 14 floodlight panels as part of the £200 million conversion of the stadium. In March 2015, work began on installing the new floodlights. Each floodlight panel is 18 meters tall and weighs 45 tons, and will sit 30 meters above the stadium's floor, suspended from the roof rather than sitting on top. In total, there are 14 panels. As the floodlight work began, work on a steel halo structure that encircles the stadium, containing 96 turnstiles, catering and toilet facilities, concluded. The black and white seating design from the Olympics was replaced with a white, blue and claret design. The new design includes West Ham's name on the East Cop stand and symbolic crossed hammers on all lower-tier stands, and the retention of the 2012 shard design on the upper tier, albeit in new coloring to match the stadium's anchor tenant. Work continued through 2016 to transform the stadium into a home for West Ham, with the club's colours and giant model West Ham shirts added to the stadium concourse. A West Ham store and coffee shop was opened on the 23rd of June. Playing surface: the red Mondo 400-metre athletics track used for the London 2012 Games was laid in August 2011 and is 13.5 mm thick. It uses two vulcanized rubber layers, one of which is a cushioning underside with elongated diamond-shaped cells, which allows them to flex in any direction. During the 4 London 2012 ceremonies, the track was protected via synthetic covering. For the stadium's transformation, the track was protected from construction work for the 2015 events by covering it with a plastic sheet layer and burying it under 75 centimeters of soil. The surface was removed in early 2016 and a new surface using Mondo track with S was laid that May for the stadium's long-term use. The grass playing field was lengthened by several meters at either end for the 2015 rugby matches to fit a suitably sized rugby pitch, and was reseeded with a Deso Grassmaster artificial natural hybrid pitch approved for Premier League matches of 105 by 68 meters, ready for West Ham. Community track. Following the demolition of the 2012 warm-up track and to comply with IAAF rules requiring a warm-up track at construction Category 1 facilities, a new 6-lane community track will be created immediately adjacent to the south of the Olympic Stadium. The track will be home to Newham Essex Beagles Athletic Club and will be open for around 250 days of the year. The construction of the track was funded by a grant from the London Marathon Trust. London 2012. The Olympic Stadium hosted its first public event on the 31st of March 2012, serving as the finish line for the National Lottery Olympic Park Run. 5,000 participants participants partook in a 5-mile run around Olympic Park, entering Olympic Stadium to the theme From Chariots of Fire to run the final 300 meters on its track. The stadium hosted 2 warm-up events for the London 2012 Olympic and Paralympic Games as part of the London Prepare Series. The venue hosted the British Universities Athletics Championships and the London Disability Grand Prix in May 2012. On the 6th of May, around 40,000 people attended for an event entitled 2012 Hours to Go, an evening of athletics and entertainment. The evening was hosted by Gabby Logan and Vernon Kay, during which John Culshaw, Mel C, Hugh Bonneville, Chipmunk and Jack Whitehall appeared. Neve Clark Willis, a 9-year-old, was chosen to officially open the stadium. During the London Disability Grand Prix, Paul Blake, Hannah Cockcroft, Michael McKillop and Richard Whitehead all set new world records. The stadium also played host to the athletics events of the British School Games. The stadium hosted both the opening and closing ceremonies at the 2012 Olympic Games. During the athletics events of the Olympic Games, David Rudisha broke his own world record for the 800 meters to become the first man to run the distance in under 1 minute 41 seconds. In the 4 times 100 meters relay, the team from Jamaica also broke their own world record from 2011 World Championships by 0.2 of a second. The United States women's 4x100 meters team beat the previous best set by East Germany in 1985, recording a time of 40.82 seconds to set a new world record. Olympic records were set by Usain Bolt, who ran the second fastest 100 meters, Renaud Lavallenie in the pole vault by 1 centimeter. Sally Pearson recorded a record time in the 100 meters hurdles, and Tatyana Lysenko set a new mark in the hammer. The stadium also hosted both the opening and closing ceremonies of the 2012 Paralympic Games. Over the course of the Paralympic Games athletics events, world records were set on the track by Oksana Botachuk, Martina Kaironi, Chen Junfei, Elamin Chentouf, China, Libby Clegg, Anu Fori, Marie-Amélie Lefeur, Teresi Nigulyamina, Mahmoud Kaldi, Samuel Mushai Kimani, Walid Katila, Liang Yongbin, Rosemary Little, Lu Ping, Lu Wenjin, Gunther Maitzinger, Michael McKillop, Matosz Michalski, Johansson Nascimento, Oscar Pistorius, David Prince, Evgeny Ishvetkov, South Africa, Leo Pekitati, Abraham Tabe, Iyuri Zaruk, Richard Whitehead, Abdrahim Gio, Zhou Daking and Joe Guowa. Multiple world records on the track were set by Unidis Castillo, Asia El Hinani, Evan O'Hanlon, Jason Smith, Fanny van der Merwe and Marlu van Rijn. In the field events, world records were set by Hani Al-Nakli, Alexia Shipatov, Iga Zapines, Laho Uari Balazd, Mohamed Berhal, Kelly Cartwright, Jan Longfu, Leonardo Diaz, Zilko Dmitrijevic, Tanu Dragic, Najid Elgara, Javad Hardani, Todd Hodgetts, Jin Wang, Marwa Ibrahimi, Joanne Yao, Mosen Kaidi, Mohamed Kalvandi, Gotchak Ugaliev, Carolina Karchachik, Hassan Talegninta, Maciej Lepiato, Lu Fulang, Drazenko Mitrovic, Izedin Nuiri, Katarzyna Piekart, Maria Pomazan, Nikita Prokhorov, King Wu, Marcus Rame, Ratsuati Lily, Zhuang Yanchang, Zhou Pengkai, Oksana Zubkovska. Multiple records were set in the field by Dong Chia, Birgit Kober, Nami, Zhang Lilwen, and Wang Zhemi.